Now
on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
It's 8:06 on this Thanksgiving morning, and a good one to all of you. Thanks for letting us be a part of your holiday and your family. We do feel like we're part of your family, and we feel like you're part of ours. So it's fitting that we're together on this Thanksgiving morning. Coming up in 30 minutes, we're going to speak with a writer at the Washington Post. He covers cooking and recipes, Arron Hutcherson. He's going to help you stop making the same Thanksgiving mistakes you make every year. It's Larry O'Connor with Julie Gunlock back from her vacation. Welcome back, Julie. It wasn't the same without you.
Oh, glad to be back. Happy Thanksgiving.
Joining us right now is Terry Schilling, president of American Principles Project. You talk about American principles, that coincides with Thanksgiving, and you talk about families. Terry's, I believe, raising a baseball team over there in the Schilling household. Good morning, Terry. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your gigantic family.
Good morning, Larry and Julie. Thank you so much for having me.
A lot to talk to you about, including the transition team, the incoming administration, some priorities for the new Trump presidency. But I do want to ask you to sort of, through the lens of American principles and values and faith, reflect on one conversation that's being had in this country this Thanksgiving Day, the conflicts, sadly, that still occur within families. And I want you to first listen to Joy Reid. She is a very well-paid TV host for MSNBC, owned by Comcast Universal. I remind you, this is a corporation that is asking all of us to shell out a whole lot of money to see a family film called Wicked. They want your family to come and pay money to see their movie, but meanwhile, their news reporter, their news host is saying this about your family.
People are rightfully alarmed. They have a reason to be alarmed. And if you would vote for that, people may not feel so confident that they're safe with you. This is not crazy. This is legitimate feelings of fear of you and a feeling that you might not be someone they could trust. If this thing goes way south, autocracies go south real fast and things get ugly and people get asked to do things and turn people in and point people out and turn on them. And if you're voting affirmatively, gleefully for this, and people might, may not feel so confident in you anymore.
This is Joy Reid, dividing families, telling people that it's okay to be afraid of their own family members if they vote a certain way, and it's okay to separate yourself from them on holidays or forever, for that matter. Terry Schilling, this is one of the most odious things I can imagine, and yet it's celebrated and rewarded by a major corporation in this country.
No, that's exactly right, and it's absolutely tragic. But this is the formula that every tyrant follows. Every autocrat, every oligarchy that ever comes to fruition, they always start by dividing the family against each other. You saw it in communist China. They taught the children to report the parents and to do struggle sessions. These are evil people, and families should stick to fighting about inheritances, stealing each other's clothes, right? There are plenty of good things to fight about, not politics. Right. Politics is not one of them.
Terry, I love you.
Exactly.
So
it's not like there's not going to be a fight at Thanksgiving. Just make it about the important stuff.
Terry, you've been so great about sort of keeping track of the left and the authoritarianism, the thought police on the left. And now we're seeing these threats of political violence for not only President Trump, who there has been 2 assassination attempts, but on his administration now we've heard some of the stories which are terrifying. Tell us your thoughts on this and what should be done about this.
Well, look, I point the fingers at 2 people, or 2 things. The lamestream legacy media that's been lying to America and propagandizing for a better part of a decade now, whipping everyone up into hysteria. I think actually there's probably some collusion there between the therapy industry and the mainstream media because they whip people into serious mental illness. But the other group that gets the blame is the Democratic Party. They repeat nonstop that Trump is Hitler, that Trump's a white supremacist. You know what, guys? Like, he's not Hitler, obviously. But this type of rhetoric is meant to get people up in arms and violent. There's no other explanation for it.
Terry, as you look at how this cabinet's being assembled, and boy, lightning speed, I got to hand it to this transition team, and certainly President-elect Donald Trump. He's not having the little ceremonies at a podium with the family and saying, here's my new secretary of this or secretary of that. It's like, bam, 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 here's the team. We're all on the same page. Let's hit the ground running. So when you sort of zoom out and look at the cabinet, what impresses you? What is maybe concerning to you? What do you think through the lens of American Principles Project?
Well, I've been thrilled with every pick that he's come out with so far, including Linda McMahon, right? Linda McMahon is a no-nonsense businesswoman who is exactly the type of person you need to go into the Department of Education to break up all the bad stuff that they're pushing on our kids in schools. But no, I think if I could summarize one thing about the new Trump team and his prerogatives is it's all business, right? They're not messing around. They're not playing the games. They're not taking this as if it's, a traditional American presidency. I think that was a mistake they made in the first term, was they thought things would cool off and that things would go back to normal. They'd be like a Bill Clinton or a George Bush type. But no, the Democrats and their allies in the legacy media and everywhere else, they're hell-bent on power. And I love to see the Trump team picking such strong candidates and moving quickly on all this.
Terry, can we mention the big event you've got coming up? Because I don't know, is it open to the public?
Oh, it's open to the public. Yeah, it's our APP Christmas ball.
Oh, great! So this is very exciting. I feel horrible because it's next Thursday, the 5th of December, and I'm filling in for Mark Levin that night, so I'm unable to attend. But people can purchase tickets. I know friends who went to it last year, and they had an absolute blast. It's the 2024 American Principles Project Foundation Christmas Ball. Your keynote speaker is Matt Walsh, one of the leading voices in American political culture this last year. And you can get tickets at appfball.org, appfball.org. Terry, are you hearing from people, but how would you compare this transition to the last transition? Because Julie and I have been mentioning the fact that unlike last Trump 1.0, there are people who are dying to work in this administration and dying to work in this White House. But I am concerned at these death threats and the violence. There are bullying, intimidation tactics trying to keep good people from going to work for Trump.
No, that's exactly right. The intimidation and the death threats, that's not just meant to stop people from doing their job. It's meant to prevent good people from going into this administration, and we just got to march forward. Listen, we got a huge future ahead. We have a very beautiful and awesome country that we inherited from our ancestors, and we've got to make sure that it's in better condition than when we give it to our kids, and that means sacrifice. Sacrifice is the root of love, and we've got to put up with this stuff, march forward. They're mostly empty, right? But we just got to keep marching forward and get the job done for the future of our country and our children.
Well said. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family,
yes.
and great work this year.
Yeah, to your whole family, to your wonderful wife, and to your wonderful mom, Terry. Please tell them Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, amen to that. American Principles Project. Thanks, Terry. Coming up, we're going to take a little walk down memory lane, not all the way back to George Washington. No, just a few years ago. We want to remind you what you should be thankful for. We want to remind you of what they did to us under the pandemic lockdowns. Thanksgiving just 4 years ago. This is going to blow your mind. Well, we'll get to it in a moment. First, it's 8:15 WMAL. 4 years ago, the week before Thanksgiving, Jake Tapper, CNN. Listen to this.
Must travel.
And Professor, we know that get-togethers, even small ones, can spread the virus. In New Jersey alone, 5 coronavirus outbreaks were linked to Halloween parties. The new CDC guidelines for small gatherings include requiring everyone to wear a mask, even outdoors, avoiding direct contact, including handshakes and hugs, keeping music levels down to avoid people singing or trying to shout over the noise, avoiding potluck-style gatherings, and having one person serve all the food so multiple people are not handling the serving utensils. Is there anything else you can think of to add to the list?
Stay apart if you can, wear that mask, and enjoy Thanksgiving, even though it's a COVID Thanksgiving, Jake.
Yeah, enjoy Thanksgiving. No hugging, no singing, wear a mask, even if outdoors. But yeah, enjoy that Thanksgiving.
People are miserable. Miserable people.
Let's turn the channel over to MSNBC and hear what Katie Tur has to advise us with. Again, all in the spirit of our good health.
And that's going to do it for me today. If you're going outside, thank you, Anna. If you are going outside, wear a mask. Don't travel this holiday season. Stay home. Cook a turkey for yourself. Eat all of the mashed potatoes by yourself. That's what I'm going to do.
So we want you to be healthy. So eat all the mashed potatoes by yourself and don't go outside. Lord, God forbid you go out and, walk around the block and get some steps in. No. Stay indoors and eat all the mashed potatoes.
People are insane. These people are insane. They always, during COVID, what they always sort of ignored was how joy is healthful, is healthy. Yes. Happiness, laughing, seeing people you love. These things are good for you. It might be hard to measure, but it is good to socialize. It's good to be with people.
Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, around this same time, I think it was in October, actually, he released a report along with fellow scientists and experts saying that the lockdown is actually causing more harm than good. He's looked at other countries like Sweden and Germany where kids were allowed to go back to school. They were fine. It wasn't changing the number of infections or deaths. In fact, the lockdown was actually exacerbating the health risks in this country. He was speaking out against it. And Anthony Fauci, the NIH, the CDC, the public health officials in the United States government silenced him, censored him. They tried to cancel him. He was a Stanford professor and expert in these things, and they tried to make him out to a quack. And this week he was named the new director of the NIH under Donald Trump. Julie, when I heard that news, I actually got emotional because we have come so far.
I have to say that many parents, I'm getting emotional just thinking about this. Many parents for years have wondered when there would be a cost for what public health did to us and our children.
That's right. Accountability.
They shut these children out of the schools. There was massive number of suicides of these children. There was so much suffering and depression and isolation. So many of these children suffered. There were children trapped at homes. These were abusive homes in many cases. They didn't care. They didn't care about special needs kids. And there's been no cost. Nobody got fired. Nobody's paid a price for this. This is, This it might actually happen. There might be some investigations. There might be some penalties for what they did. But I will tell you, there's hope. This is what I felt for the first time when I heard this announcement.
I've been following presidential elections for decades now. Most Americans do, I think. And you look with interest at the incoming administration. I will tell you, up until this moment in my life, I never paid attention who the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Director of the NIH, Head of the FDA was. I couldn't get. But this time around, with RFK Jr., Jay Bhattacharya, and Marty McCary heading up the FDA. This is you talk about a dream team here. And by the way, just we were in the middle of the pandemic. We didn't know it was the fog of war. We were being better safe than sorry. First of all, bunk on that, because there were voices before Thanksgiving of 2020 saying this has got to stop. The lockdown is hurting us. But then here's 1 year later, Thanksgiving 2021, CBS News wrestling with the dilemma as to whether you check your guests at Thanksgiving and have them show their vaccination card before you let them into your home. Listen to this.
It might be a difficult conversation before people step into your house to say, whoa, wait a minute. Where's your card? What's your status? Before you walk into my home.
This is tough because people are all over the map on this, and they're also all over the map with their risk tolerance. But the rapid tests have made this a lot easier.
Right.
Because whatever people's vaccination status is, we can actually confirm safety on the spot. So if it feels like it's going to be weird, maybe make it kind of fun. Say we're going to start with hors d'oeuvres in the garage.
Fun!
We'll have drinks. We'll do our rapid test, and then come on in, right? You can make it playful, make it fun. And
yeah, it'll be playful and it'll be fun. Everyone come into the garage with hors d'oeuvres, and I'm going to stick this swab up your nose to make sure you're not carrying a virus into the house, because nothing says family, faith, and fun at Thanksgiving time like doing a medical test before I let you into my house. And if you fail the test, well, you're just going to have to go to McDonald's or something, because you're not welcome in my home. This was the elite of the elite. This is the smart set. This is what we were dealing with back then, Julie. And my God, have we made it a long way. It's 8:23. 8:36 on O'Connor and Company. Thanks for tuning in. We are live here on this Thanksgiving morning. It's been a blast all morning long with Julie Gunlock, who's back from her trip to Spain. They don't eat turkey in Spain, do they? Is there a
Didn't
turkey
run into
tapas?
any. No, didn't run into any.
See, another reason why America is superior to all other countries.
Right. Okay.
Chris Platt Show begins in 30 minutes, and I just want to say, as a man who was born in Detroit, Michigan, lived in Michigan for until I was a teenager, and a diehard Lions fan, and it's been tough going for decades because they have been the laughingstock of football. It is not. I welcome you to the bandwagon. The Lions begin their game today at noon. They have the best team in football. They are entertaining to watch. Join us. Jump on the bandwagon now. Lions all the way to the Super Bowl, unless the Commanders have another sort of late season surge. I just wanted to get that off my chest. Joining us right now is Arron Hutcherson. He's the recipe developer at the Washington Post. First of all, Arron, Julie and I are incredibly jealous. Do you want to trade jobs for a week or something? That would be a blast.
Sounds great. Sign me up.
You have a great post here, how to stop making the same Thanksgiving mistakes every year. And it sounds like you wrote this for me, because it's like this is the problem. Since a lot of this stuff you only make once a year, you sort of have this like sort of turkey amnesia maybe. And it's like halfway through the meal, it's like, oh, that's right, I should have done that, right? What are these mistakes that people make?
So the first one is not making a plan and sort of forgetting about like, oh, I need to get some chicken stock to make gravy later on. Or like you talked about turkey amnesia. So if you have written down recipes for the dishes that you make once a year, it might be a good idea to just sort of read them through a couple times to make sure you know what you're doing. And then there's other things like just, I don't know, I'm getting started now. I was actually in the middle of working on my turkey, but you get so busy cooking throughout the day, and then it's like, oh, it's time to eat, and people are ringing the doorbell, and I still haven't showered yet.
Yeah, that's a problem.
You know, Arron, you make a really good point here about, when you have guests, you want to impress them. And your number one sort of warning is about being overly ambitious. I think, people tend to think, oh, I have guests coming in, I have to impress them. But sometimes sticking to the basics is better because you are more self-assured, especially if you have people coming over, and then it leaves more time. If you know sort of, these are the basics, these are family recipes I'm familiar with, then you're more at ease with your guests. Isn't that right?
Exactly, because if you're trying something new for the first time, it sort of adds an extra layer of pressure, and that extra pressure can sort of make you more prone to making mistakes. So just stick to the basics, and most people are just happy to have some place to go to eat, happy to have someone to cook for them. I know that would be the case for me.
Right. That is so true.
Arron Hutcherson, Washington Post. By the way, follow him on X. It's the Hungry Hutch. I love that.
I love that.
This is how he describes himself. I think that you're channeling me and Julie. I like to eat well and teach people how to do the same. What a life calling you've got, Arron.
Yes.
I love my favorite part of your article here doesn't have much to do with cooking directly. When you talk about the mistakes that people make every year, my favorite one is forgetting to get dressed. And
it's so true.
I have done that. You start and you're still in your jammies. You start, okay, I'll start, getting the bird ready, and before you know it, you got everything lined up. It's almost time. The people are arriving, and you look at, oh my God, I'm still in my jammies.
Like, I wrote that one from experience. So we've all been there.
So, let me ask you this, because this is the first Thanksgiving I've done in many years where I've got guests coming over and they are bringing dishes, or they're going to be cooking dishes at my house. And I don't know, I've always sort of felt like if you're hosting a Thanksgiving dinner, it's like, you're coming to my house, I'm going to cook everything, don't worry about it. So is that a good idea to have people contribute as well, or are there pitfalls there, or is it too late for me?
So, yes, it's a good idea. The issue can become with people cooking at your house is like, if you're trying to cook and they're trying to cook, then there can be too many cooks in the kitchen at some point. So you just sort of need to plan that out to make sure they have a space to do what they need to do, and you still have a space to do what you need to do, so that you aren't sort of stepping over each other's toes.
Yeah. As the recipe developer there at Washington Post, are there some sort of new things that are trending in for Thanksgiving this year? Has anything sort of popped up that gives a twist on the traditional?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you want to sort of just take what you already have and switch it up just slightly, this year for the gravy recipe, I did a caramelized onion and miso gravy. So it's super savory and it's almost sort of like French onion soup meets gravy.
Ooh, we're having an umami Thanksgiving. I like that.
Exactly. And so it's not super sort of out of the box, but it's just a little bit different than your traditional gravy.
Larry and I were talking earlier. Larry, I did not brine my turkey this year, partly because I just got back from a trip and I didn't have time. And Larry did brine his turkey, and he brined it in a wet brine, meaning water and salt solutions, sugars, whatever. And then, but there's this such thing, and I find that process kind of gross because you're left with all this wet liquid you have to get rid of.
Salmonella juice, I call it.
Yes, exactly. But there is a such thing as dry brining. Are you familiar with this? And which do you think is better, the wet brining or the dry brining?
Yeah, so dry brining is essentially you just salt your turkey all over and let it sit in the fridge uncovered for a couple of days. And I mean, it's a little late for that now, but for next year.
Well, yes.
That is definitely my preference because, like you say, you don't have to deal with the salmonella juice, and there's always the potential for, you accidentally tip it over, and then there's turkey water all over your fridge.
Good to know. But you're right, for next year. Good to know.
Finally, Aaron, I don't know if you dip into sommelier efforts here, but we've got an ongoing debate here about the right pairing for a turkey. Do you go with a Pinot Noir type red, or do you go with a nice dry white?
I mean, if I'm hosting people, why not both? Because
That's
those
true.
are sort of the
Good
two
for you, yes.
main options. I think I personally might go for the white just because it's a little bit crisper and to sort of cut through the rich fattiness of the meal. But it's up to
Thank you. See, and I did not lead the witness here, but that's the side I'm on, and it's the correct side and the winning side, and I just want to bet. Arron Hutcherson, thank you, my friend, and happy Thanksgiving. No, what, you want to yell at me?
No, I agree. I like a fruity red. I think that is appropriate.
Well,
but that's
wrong.
a whole, yes, we need to conclude.
Aaron, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Aaron.
Enjoy
We
cooking.
still want your job. We want your job, yes.
It is 8:44. It's O'Connor and Company this Thanksgiving morning, and I want to reiterate how grateful all of us are here on our team. We have a wonderful team that get together every morning to try to give you 4 hours of information and passion. And yeah, I keep saying we want you to end the morning with a smile on your face, even if the news doesn't incline for a good mood. We do our best. And listen, let's face it. Thank God the election went the way that it did. And it's nice when the good guys win for once, honestly. And it's another thing to be grateful for.
Larry, since I've been on this show, I've learned a lot from you, not only about the radio business, but also just about keeping a positive attitude. You've always said, don't be an Eeyore. After the midterms last, a couple years ago, you're like, let's not be an Eeyore. And I was like, I'm going to be an Eeyore. And you said, no, let's stay positive. But I will say it is nice this year that we are looking forward to a new Trump administration and hopefully some changes. So it's nice to not have to sort of not be an Eeyore, but to be legitimate happy about the outcome of the election. Well,
and from the top down here at this program and, of course, WMAL, the radio station, we all care so much about everyone who tunes in. We do consider you family. We try to treat you that way, and that doesn't mean we always agree or get along, but we do maintain the family relationship that we've got here because we know how important we are to you, and we're grateful for that, and you need to know how important you are to us. And so our grand poobah here, Jeff Bowden, and of course our program director, now going on over 13 years, Bill Hess, who has really reformed this station to what you know today, a mentor to all of us. He's a great man and a radio genius. He's our program director, and we give him a hard time all the time as a joke, only because he's the nicest guy in the business. That's why it's fun to call him Darth Vader. Our executive producer, Heather Hunter. our board operators, Michael Shelton usually, today the professor, Jeff Wolf, and of course our on-air team from Julie Gunlock and Patrice Onwuka, and most of the time Mercedes Schlapp, and from me. We are internally grateful that we are a part of your life, and we recognize how lucky we are to have the jobs that we have, and we're going to continue doing it ad infinitum, as long as you'll have us. Literally. I mean, as soon as you decide you don't like us anymore, that's when we're gone. That's how this business works. And to that end, I got two quick things for you. This question about red or white wine, I've solved it. This year, I'm drinking nothing but champagne. Because it's celebration time, baby. And Perfect. I'm going to, like, in 10 minutes, I'll open the first bottle. And I'm going to go for the rest of the day. So there's that. And I want you all to be happy and celebrate. And then I'll leave you with this. This was just posted 30 minutes ago. Not even that, 20 minutes ago. It's from Donald J. Trump. He has given his annual Thanksgiving blessing, and it does not disappoint. This is the Thanksgiving message from your former president and your future president, your current president-elect. Happy Thanksgiving to all, including to the radical left lunatics who have worked so hard to destroy our country, but who have miserably failed and will always fail because their ideas and policies are so hopelessly bad that the great people of our nation just gave a landslide victory to those who want to make America great again. Don't worry, our country will soon be respected, productive, fair and strong, and you will be, more than ever before, proud to be an American. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's 8:53.
WMAL FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station.
Making sense of the news.